We've got a great lineup for you tonight, and our first guest is Annette Klinefelter, Executive Director of Daybreak Youth Services. Let's bring forward Annette. Oh, hello.
Hi.
So let's just start off with, tell us, what is Daybreak? What do you guys do?
Well, we take care of teenagers who need a lot of help.
How so?
Well, our kids' drug and alcohol addiction and mental health issues are rampant in all of our communities. And certainly we're proud that what we're able to do at Daybreak is to provide treatment in a system that doesn't have a lot of capacity, but we're getting ready to expand, and so that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about how you work in general. Do you have sites where kids can go as treatment centers?
So we have 2 treatment centers. We're the largest treatment provider for adolescents in the state of Washington. So we have a facility for girls in Spokane and a tiny little facility for boys right now here in Vancouver. But we're getting ready to expand to a 58-bed facility in Brush Prairie that will be opening February or March. That we'll be able to service young women. We've never been able to service young women in the Vancouver community before,
that's awesome.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that is.
Really
and so
great.
You're in a campaign for that now, beginning the expansion.
We are, absolutely.
And so there's some material out in the back. They've set up a table in the back, and there's some material as you came in.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit more about this campaign and what the expansion's gonna bring that we haven't had so far.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of our climate right now in Washington. For those of you who don't know, there's only 58 treatment beds from the Canadian border to the Oregon border west of Yakima.
Wow. So 58 treatment beds. How many kids need the help, need the beds?
On any given day, we estimate there's about 5,000 youth in the state of Washington who could benefit from treatment.
Oh my goodness.
So a lot of those kids can get good services in outpatient clinics, but you know, for some kids, outpatient is not adequate enough.
Yeah.
They need to be removed from their peer situations, from their home situations, to be in a really intensive healing environment where they can be away from the drugs and alcohols, where they can learn skills in order to prevent relapse and to be successful in their lives. And then they've had horrible, terrible trauma, most of them.
Right.
And so working with them around all of the issues of trauma and building coping mechanisms and really getting them to sort of embrace a lifetime of recovery is what we do in our inpatient setting.
That's fantastic. So what, for like folks, you know, out in the day-to-day in our regular lives, what's something that we can do right now to help address the problem of youth addiction?
Well, it can be treated, right? So if you're noticing that young people in your families or in your communities if they've changed dramatically, it's not just normal teenage behavior when all of a sudden kids who were doing well and getting A's and B's are all of a sudden getting D's and F's. That could be a sign, right? Yeah. That they're either depressed or that they're using. We can help in both situations. We're a mental health provider as well. So certainly, pay attention to what's going on with the young people in your lives and in your community. Let them know that you're worried about them and that there are places where they can access help. So spread the word.
Fantastic.
I think the other thing that's really important to acknowledge is that you know, young people do get addicted to alcohol and marijuana. Marijuana is legal now in the state of Washington, but that it is an addictive substance. And so for young people who all of a sudden they're losing their sporting careers, right? Yeah. They're losing their connections to the clubs and the hobbies that they've really been passionate about. It's largely attributed to the fact that they can't stop using, right? That the passion that they once had for life has been replaced with their passion for marijuana. Even though it's a legal substance, it's still destroying their lives, right? And that can be treated. And treating addiction early, it is a progressive disease. So the earlier we treat it, the more likely they are to recover from it and live happy, hopeful lives. And that's really what we're about. So the campaign is called the the Help the Children campaign, and I'm going to just kind of back briefly and put a little bit of context to the name of that campaign. So we were founded in 1979 in Spokane, Washington, by Dr. Bill Yakeley. And the way that Dr. Bill Yakeley shared the story with me and our board members a couple of summers ago out at his farm in Spokane was that one day he was out working on his lawn. He was just cutting the lawn, and all of a sudden all of the ambient noise just went away, and he just heard this voice that said, "Help the children." And so he just ruminated on it, and he couldn't shake it. It was such a powerful force that he just couldn't stop thinking about it. So he went to his pastor, right? And he said, "Pastor, I got this voice, I got this message, help the children, I don't know what it means." And he was expecting the pastor to be "Great, we'll take that on, because that's what we do. We help people, I'm the pastor, we'll do it." But instead, pastor said to him, "Funny you should mention that, because 3 other people in this congregation have said the same thing to me over the last 3 weeks." And so this group of people began to meet in the basement of this church in Spokane, Washington, trying to figure out what this meant.
Yeah.
And they were led to Hazelden, which is one of the first adolescent treatment facilities in the country, in Wisconsin, in the 1970s. And they determined that that's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to open an adolescent residential treatment facility that would provide co-occurring mental health and chemical dependency treatment. And so they opened their doors. So we thought it was really fitting that we would name this campaign Help the Children in honor of our founders, and ultimately in honor of their vision, which was that we would be treating both the mental health and the chemical dependency at the same time. And so this facility that we're opening in February or March is going to be the first of its kind in the state of Washington.
That's awesome.
That will actually be able to have mental health, crisis stabilization, evaluation, and treatment, secure detox beds, as well as co-occurring residential for kids who have both mental health and substance use disorders.
That's fantastic. And there's more information out on the back table. You can find out more about them at their website. You guys are doing great work. Thank you so much for being here, Annette.
You're doing great work. Thank you. Great. Thanks.